I ate my ass. Classroom Elite Season 4 announced that it will adapt the second year of the light novel. Now, let me see the information we have. Wait, what? People have been speculating that from the key visual that it will be a new studio working on it, judging that the character design or the overall compositing on it looks different. Now, this is just me speculating, okay? Don't take this as factual statement. I'm going to be speculating with the information that's out right now, which is slim to nothing. I've already talked about the production of COTE, so you can check that out. Although I do sound a bit tone deaf back then. It's toned down a bit, but gives it that pop. My god, I want to die. A short summary of it is that Season 1 still looks the most consistent and the best. I'm not saying it's perfect. Season 2 was an absolute dumpster fire of apparent bad animation. Then Season 3 got better because they delayed it. Again, not saying it's perfect. And that's just talking about the quality of it. Of course, more people are furious about the adaptation, how it butchered a lot of stuff from the light novel. At the end of the day, I'm an anime only. I love the show, so ignorance is bliss. I know Season 4 will have some action in it. I'm quite spoiled in some stuff from year 2. We know that if it's by lerche, the action will be good. Praying. The Aina Koji vs Koenji fight was surprising that they could even pull that off with the rotoscoping stuff. So you gotta appreciate that lerche could pull that off in the horrible production schedule by Kadokawa. On the topic of which studio will be working on it, this is my assumption that it will still be by lerche. I really don't see it changing. Yes, the key visual looks a lot different from the previous ones. That looks like it was drawn by the character designer himself. But it's not rare that someone that's not the character designer of the show draws the teaser visual. I've tried to look on Twitter or X on who drew this. Usually sometimes the person who drew the key visual tweets out that they did it, but I don't really see any sorts of that. People are saying the design looks like the manga design, which tracks especially Aina Koji, although he looks a bit meh here. But for the others, especially Ichika, step on it. This key visual could definitely be a thing that they drop to just have for the announcement. It's likely that they are still in early production, probably only in pre-production, and even with the small gap between the announcement and Season 3, lerche is probably still going forward with it. Let's say the studios change. Which studios are most likely to pick up the show? Again, let me reiterate, the change of studio will not mean a sudden great adaptation for the show. It is mostly up to the committee, Kadokawa, for how many episode count, or more important, the schedule. We know that at least Season 2 and 3 had an awful schedule, especially Season 2. Of course, the committee mostly don't care about the final product. They don't care what studios will pick up the IP. If it's popular and the money keeps on stacking, that's all that matters. The director and scriptwriters are also very important too. We saw light novel adaptations with the right director. Even in a horrible schedule, they'll pull through in the making of a great adaptation. Same goes for the previous directors of COTE. If you look at their track record, they've directed some very good shows. It also depends on how good the schedule and the talent on board. A good example is Miso with the recent Wistoria episode, who literally can make some of the best action episodes in anime, and there's proof that with a good schedule and talent on board, he can do it. But in Wistoria episode 9, it was just a normal looking episode by Miso, but he knows better to dim down his ambition for a project that is not in the same boat as JJK. But it's still unfortunate. Now, let's get the studios that normies will point and say, "Oh my god, Ufotable, MAPPA, CloverWorks." No, it's not gonna be those. This is not me just speculating. There's no way in hell that these studios will pick up this show. 1, why would they? And 2, why would they? Of course, people that even point towards these studios are just, I don't know. These studios are already busy with their own stuff. Even a leak saying Ufotable is not even working on Genshin, to probably prioritize more on the Demon Slayer movie too. Why am I even explaining this? Again, I could be wrong in a parallel universe, but it's unlikely that these studios will pick up COTE. You gotta look at their track record on what shows they would adapt. Of course, any studio can pick up COTE if lerche decides to leave the project, but mostly the top of the top studios are already booked in what project they're gonna do years in advance. Potentially some are booked to 2028 to 2029. If any of these studios are the one doing COTE Season 4, I will... Okay, that's a bit TOS. Of course, I'm not gonna name all the studios because that's too many, but the type of studios that produce a lot of shows, or just the type of studios that produce these kind of shows, like an A1 or JC stuff. Some studios' endeavors have definitely changed, more so their reputation, or just not picking up random shows anymore. I've said that it's not gonna change the adaptation even if the studio is different, at least the content side. Of course, in terms of animation, if you put CloverWorks and Lerche, one will be better looking than the other. I'm not saying if CloverWorks is the one that's gonna do this season, it will have the same animation like their One Direct Priority or Elusive. No, that particular production line is already way too busy with a potential season 2 of Elusive Samurai and others like My Dress of Darling season 2. Studios have different teams, that's why some studios can also make a lot more projects compared to the other ones, give or take the quality of it. And a studio could be crucial than others since they are animators and directors that are attached or in-house staff members for the certain studios. Some of these studios could definitely be the one, but it's a high likely but still unlikely that these type of studios will helm the season. I do think the likely studios to pick up COTE Season 4 is the not so popular studios or the smaller ones. Studios like ENGI or Production Number 9. I don't know why I have a hunch that it could be by Satelight. I don't know why, maybe I'm high in the hoo-ha. But these studios are the most probable ones since maybe they're not as booked as the aforementioned studios, because these studios are probably more freer, although some of them don't really have the best reputation when it comes to adapting light novels or manga. ENGI has a bad history on adapting stuff. We saw that in their more popular series, The Detective's Already Dead, with a good looking first episode getting carried by Ryuki Hashimoto since he is stuck in ENGI jail, and then just womp womp. Although I'm not very familiar with most light novels, most people say that ENGI don't do the best job adaptation wise and animation. Same goes for Project Number 9. They do adaptations, but it's a very mediocre one with the production quality of it for some of them, and also like the cut content stuff from the source material. Of course, if it's a light novel, it's very rare stuff don't get cut out, because it's a light novel. You can't just translate words to anime and just let characters yap. No, you gotta factor in on how it should be presented with the limitation of runtime that anime has, and also you gotta use the advantage of what anime can do. But again, I do think that these studios are the one that are most likely to work on COTE Season 4. Let me repeat myself, these are just assumptions with maybe some educated guesses. I don't know what I'm saying. Don't get your hopes up. Even if it's a studio change, there would be more problems if the committee had to scram through on picking another studio to do it. That means it's less time for the project, and I know light novel readers are gonna complain simultaneously watching all 3 seasons and the 4th one probably. Of course, I can see why the adaptation is not the best, but as an anime only, I don't really care. Just give me more Classroom Elite content. Don't worry, the fillers are done. Next week, more bangers. Look at this monkey.
Look at this monkey.
If you guys like this video, leave a like. If you hate it, leave a like. Comment down below what are your thoughts on Season 4 announcement or just anything Classroom Elite related. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. See you guys next time.